Now, union support can be a help and hindrance to political parties leading up to an election, but the tone is very much different this time around. The Progressive Conservative Party have been promoting the endorsements of construction and trade unions for the last week or so. Now we're up to about a half dozen who've extended their hand to the party after previously backing the Liberals before the party fell from grace and lost in 2018. Now, in 2014, the union spent millions attacking the Progressive Conservatives under the banner the Working Families Coalition. Meanwhile, public sector unions like teachers and healthcare unions have been spreading their support around to the parties supporting the PCs. Now, former PC party leader Tim Hudak is well aware of the impact that unions can have on an election. It's something he doesn't have to worry about much these days, of course, as the CEO of the Ontario Real Estate Association. But Tim Hudak joined us live this morning on CP24 Breakfast. Tim, good to talk to you. What do you make of this, how the PC party is now the home for so many union supporters?
Well, it's exciting to see. Well, first, I think, Nick, I'm happy to distinguish between private sector unions and government unions. But with respect to the private sector unions, I really see three things here. Number one, as their campaign slogan goes, only Doug Ford can get it done. So the unions are responding positively to the investments in infrastructure, like transit, like new highways, new hospitals, and of course, the Real Estate Association, very excited to see a very pro-housing plan as well. So that's number one. Number two, Doug Ford himself and his labor minister, Monty McNaughton, built this relationship over many years. In fact, Minister McNaughton went out and visited with over 100 union leaders right out of the gate when they became government, forged strong relationships, and did policies that the unions liked, like investing more in the skilled trades, encouraging more students to go into the skilled trades, and modernizing the apprenticeship system so more apprentices could get involved. As you know, Nick, these are very good paying jobs. And third and finally, I think there's been a disconnect between the New Democrats and some of the private sector unions where they had been traditionally. The NDP is sort of torn between a bit of a sometimes more university type urban agenda versus the more blue collar trades. And I think the trades have noticed and shifted to Premier Ford, the PCs.
So how significant then is this overall when you take a look at this campaign right now? Because, of course, it's a battle for every single vote you can possibly get. And certainly in certain ridings here for the PCs to be attracting that private sector unions versus what may have traditionally fallen to the New Democrats. How key is that going to be 2 weeks from today?
I think it's going to be very important because, number one, already the endorsements from the private sector unions make up over 200,000 individual voters. And because they're seeing more jobs and seeing more respect, they're highly motivated to go out and vote. You know, for example, the labor minister and the premier use expressions that call a lot of attention by saying things like, you know, people who are building Ontario have jobs where you shower after work, right? And they're talking more about getting folks not to pursue some traditional university courses and looking to the trades. And that's really caught the attention of those in the trades who see it as a nod of respect. And it looks like the public sector unions are really splitting their support between the Ontario Liberals and New Democrats, so that force is dissipated really among two different parties.
I find this interesting too, Tim, because you know you and I are kind of around the same age, and when I was in high school, the idea of going into the trades, it was almost frowned upon, you know, from your guidance counselors, from your teachers. It was also, let's go to university, make sure you get a sort of, you know, post-secondary education versus, you know, don't really think about the trades. There's been a real evolution and shift in the last 30 years or so towards that, and it seems like from what we're seeing in this campaign right now, the PCs are the ones sort of picking up on this and taking it and using it to their political advantage.
Yeah, well, that's nice to say, but looking at you, you're far younger than I am. But you're right. In the high school days, we weren't encouraged in that direction. But man, anybody who's had any repairs done to their home, any kind of construction, these are well-paying jobs, many over six figures now with nice pensions and benefits. It's smart economic policy. You're probably looking at about 25% of the workforce that are going to be in the skilled trades jobs in the future. And secondly, you know, along that line, you just see a strong pipeline of projects that are going to be built. So you know you've got jobs for the long run as well.
Okay, Tim Hudak, great to get your perspective this morning. Of course, the CEO of the Ontario Real Estate Association, but of course, formerly leader of the Ontario PC Party. Good to chat.
Have a great day.